Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the third episode of Theatre's Hidden Helper podcast, Autism, Musicals, and Me. This episode, we're going to be talking about many things in autism and musicals and how they cross over, and we're also going to be talking about myself with my preferences in autism and musicals, and we're also going to be looking at a bit more in depth on the West End and Broadway smash hit Jersey Boys, the musical, based on the music of Bob Gaudio and the music of The Four Seasons. But other than that, let's set the stage, light the lights, and open the curtains on a new week. Well, welcome back to the third episode of Theatre's Hidden Helper, as I've said before. Today we're going to be looking a little bit about, because last week we looked at, I did with my mum. She was my special guest, if you didn't know. And if you do want to know that, then go and check out episode 2 in the playlist of Theatre's Hidden Helper podcasts in my YouTube channel. I'm sorry if I feel a little bit deflated. It's just currently I've just finished year 11 and grade day is on, or when we get our GCSE grades, that's on Thursday, this coming Thursday, and I'm just really feeling a bit useless currently, because I know that it's not going to be amazing, and whichever grades come out completely wrong, I'm going to fight to the death to appeal them and get on the course that I want and show people that those grades are not reflective of what I can actually achieve. But I'm just feeling a bit useless currently and a bit deflated, because I'm kind of tiring myself out with emotions, because what people don't understand with being tired is that as well as physical activity like doing workouts and doing so many jobs a day can make you feel really tired, and really achy. People really misunderstand this point, is that emotions really can tire you out as much as physical work. So let's say you go through a terrible breakup and you're not taking it well and your emotions are coming out and you're crying a lot. A lot of people will notice that they feel much more tired when that's going on than a normal day, because your body is using up energy to process those emotions, get them out, to focus more on those emotions, etc., etc., if you get my gist. And that's sort of I would say enhanced, but that makes it sound like it's better. It's not. Autism also dips into that with it also dips into the emotional tiredness with the fact of I worry a lot, and then the autism side of me takes over and I stress out completely. But I get through it with coping techniques, which I might talk about another day, but not today, because we've got some more important things to talk about. So as every week's podcast has been working, next, after I've been discussing autism for a bit and how it dips into musicals, and a little bit of Jersey Boys at the start and at the end, which is an amazing musical. Go check it out if you can, when it comes back on tour on the West End, because it's currently only in America currently. But the intermission is going to be a little bit different, because usually when I do the intermissions, I know exactly what's going in it. So the first episode was an extract of my cover that's now up on YouTube. Go check that out as well. A snippet of my cover of Star Kids' Deck the Halls of Northville High, from their horror comedy musical called Black Friday. And last week's episode, the second episode, featured me drumming through Yorktown, The World Turned Upside Down from Hamilton. And every time those things have I've had them waiting to be rolled out, and I didn't know when to, and then I started to do the podcast, and then I thought, this is amazing, I can launch some other things through it. But today I am actually doing the recording in a little bit of an odd fashion. A very, what I would call, a very Benji Boy, stress production. So I come across as quite nice, and I promise you I am nice, but I come across as people tell me that I come across as quite confident, and persistent. Well, best way to say that is resilient. Like, I'm not gonna, if I get knocked down, I'm gonna get back up again. That's what I do. If I get knocked down, I'm gonna get back up again twice, and get back to twice where I was before. But you know, I'm scotch taping this together currently. I'm a little bit stressed, but that's also because of results day that's coming up on the Thursday. And it's also because I haven't had that much time to prep. So we're taping it together, as Starkid would say. If you get my reference there, great. If you don't, then that's fine. Just go check out Starkid. However, as I said, moving back to the point, I don't actually know what I'm going to be putting in the interval currently. Now, that's a little bit worrying for me because I can't actually hint at it, and I don't actually know what's going to come next and what's going to happen, like, in my head. So what I'll do is I'm recording Act 1 currently as we speak. Well, as I'm speaking, you'll be watching it online, so I'll already have recorded everything by then. But I'm recording Act 1 first, and then I'll record. I might not record a song or a drum cover this week because obviously, with results day coming up, I am knackered from emotions and stuff like that. So yeah, today's going to work a little bit differently in the fact that the intermission is actually gonna be slightly just a break from autism and musicals and me, and we're just gonna look at some other things that are going on in the world currently, because as you can quite tell, I am really tired from all of this emotions that are inside of me currently, to do with stress and results. But hey ho, let's crack on. So I wanted to look at school productions. Now, I've been in a couple of school productions, and I just wanted to talk about them fully because they're very different to when you actually do college productions and theatre productions with amateur dramatic societies and drama schools and the West End. So as I said it was either the first episode or the second podcast, really nailed that down for you. Now you've got to go and watch 2 hours worth of material to find it. My first show that I was in, first musical I was in, was one written especially for kids in year 6, and it was called, drumroll please, Robin and the Sherwood Hoodies. It was absolutely hilarious back then. Looking back at the jokes now, they're written for adults, so there's like references to bands and stuff like that we had no idea what the hell we're referencing, but the parents loved it, so we were just kind of having fun, having people laugh at what we would think as just a normal sentence at that age. And I was a skunk, as I said. I was very proud to be that skunk. And we would sing a song. And I'm actually going to go onto my Spotify. I'm pulling it up right now because I'm trying to find out which song it was. It featured songs such as Sherwood Forest, Helping Hand, Men in Tights, He Will Be a Hero If We All Work Together, Singing All Over the World, I don't know, and Men in Tights Reprise. But I would sing in the Helping Hand song, and it was a really sweet song about helping each other out when you need it, and coming together as a community. And now I'm kind of listening to it, and I'm a little bit confused that because it was ages ago, I'm now looking at it and listening back to certain parts, and I'm just like, oh, now I get it. But that was my first production. But I have been in obviously various nativities, which every single school does, leading up to a year 6 production. Um, but then we move on to I was in year 7. I was in Les Mis with my secondary school. And funny story about this, I used to have crippling stage fright in year 7. Not that you would tell. When I was at rehearsals, I was fine. I was one of the students who fight with. Oh crap! This is gonna make me look like such an idiot. That fight with Marius. And the rest of the lead students, and I was ecstatic for it. And I'd just seen Les Mis with Hugh Jackman and Eddie Redmayne and Aaron Tveit, and I was extremely excited. However, the day before the first performance, I had got myself into such an emotional state that I was so worried about it. I was actually worried, and I was actually sick on the day of the performance. And then I couldn't attend any of the other performances because of that, and I had a temperature, and I was, really bad luck for me. But then next year, I never actually got to see the finished production from either a performer or an audience point of view, so I'm really sad about that. However, it did save me a bit of embarrassment because I was supposed to be playing a dead body at part of it. One of the dead students, where the Thénardiers pickpocket the dead bodies in Act 2, and I was really struggling not to get through it without corpsing. Which, for those of you who don't know what corpsing is, I'll explain it to you again. Corpsing is when you are acting as a dead body on stage and you break character. That's called corpsing. So like if you laugh on stage as a dead body and you're supposed to be dead, but you start laughing and sniggering and people can see you moving, that's called corpsing. And I was actually quite dreading that bit, but that in a sense saved me from that, but also got me out the whole production. And then we move on to year 8, where I had actually, it was my first time ever auditioning for a lead role, and I auditioned for Oliver, and to my absolute surprise, I actually did get the role of Oliver in Oliver Twist. And I've got pictures on my wall to remember that, and I absolutely loved it. I love Consider Yourself, Where Is Love, and Who Will Buy. It's quite a joyous musical, especially You've Got to Pick a Pocket or Two. The guy who was our Fagin, Reese, who's quite a good friend of mine now, when he did that song, there was something about him when I was at that age that I was like, he is really a thief, right? Because I was so convinced that he could actually be a thief in real life, and he was so good at doing the mannerisms of Fagin, and the accents. However, when we did one of the songs, it was pointed out to him that he would change accents many times in the reviewing the situation, which was actually quite funny to watch because it showed Fagin's eccentric side, and he really brought his own to the character. And it was an amazing show for me. It's where I met my best friend Liam, who was as my understudy of sorts. But this year I was not ill for any of the performances. I was on stage every night and every matinee, and I was really enjoying it up there. And I was like, oh, this is a really cool thing to do and get into. And it was around that time, either year 8 or 9, when I'd seen my first musical actual on a stage, which was Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I absolutely loved it. But I'll get back to that at some point because I've already talked about it in a previous episode. And then year 9 came about, and we were doing School of Rock. And at the time I was really advancing with my drumming technique and skills, but I hadn't got any grading. And the reason I hadn't done that is because I was quite stressed for it. And although drum grading will get you into, it's helpful to get into colleges like ACM and show on your resume for if you go into a uni course. But if you look at many professional drummers currently who are in really famous bands, they don't have any drumming grades from either Rock School or Trinity. And that's interesting because through Rock School and Trinity, when you're doing drum lessons, you're always told you have to do this, otherwise you can't get any gigs. Now, you can't get any professional gigs such as doing pit drumming in a theatre or doing step-in drumming. However, if you're in a band of your own, you don't really need any qualifications. And people will diss me on that, saying, oh, well, you do, it's really helpful that you can read sheet music. And I was like, I can already read sheet music, and I'm extremely good with listening to a piece of music and being able to play you the exact drumming to that music without actually seeing the sheet music, and just listening to it a couple times. But we're always told, oh, you need the grading to stuff. And I was like, no, you don't actually have to. If you've got a passion and you go away at home, if you can't afford to do gradings and pay for the exams, focus on sheet music, watch Drumeo, watch other people playing, try and develop your listening by ear and also your sheet music reading and technique with cross snare and rim shots, and try halftime shuffles. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. And I love doing drumming as a fallback plan and singing as a fallback plan to musical theatre when I don't get gigs, etc. However, moving off of the point, when I was in School of Rock, I auditioned for Freddie Hamilton, which is the boy who plays drums in the band. And I was lucky enough to get him, and I played the drums in my audition, and I was quite thrilled to look up to see all three of my drum teachers and the couple of students that sat in on my audition talking about it, and one of our teachers, Mr. Clements, actually having a proper rock out to me playing the teacher's pet song in my audition on the drums. And I got to play drums on stage every night, every matinee. I played drums live on stage for everyone. And I was the only person in the cast to play their instrument on stage, which made me quite proud of myself because it was quite an achievement for me to do that and do acting as the same job. So I was kind of doing an actor-musician role. I was exactly doing an actor-musician role. It was my first one to do music on stage as well as acting, which is quite fun for me because it was something I'd never done before. And when we did it, I was really excited. And when we performed it, I was really excited. And the cast was so nice. And that was actually the last show we actually did. And now I'm in year 11. You're just like, what? They just cancelled it. Well, let me tell you a story, okay? Give me a second. We got a new drama teacher in year 11, but in year 10, 2 of the 3 drama teachers left. So it was quite hard to put on a show with 1 teacher and 1 music teacher, so 2 teachers willing to give up their time to do quite an out there production. And we had a smaller budget, I believe, and we had a new head teacher who said no to doing productions full stop because he thought it would mess up with GCSE grades for the year 11s at that point and how year 10s start learning their GCSEs. And then finally this year we managed to convince him to re-put them on, but we did a night at the musicals this year, which we haven't performed and we probably won't perform, which is quite a shame. But I will go in and visit my old school from time to time again with the music department and the drama department and any other department that is willing to tolerate me for like an hour. But yeah, I was there. We were doing a night at musicals with 6 shows in it. There was Annie, Bugsy Malone, Grease, Greatest Showman, High School Musical, and Uh-oh. Hang on. Grease, Annie, High School Musical, Greatest Showman, Hairspray, and the other one. So I think I missed Hairspray on the first bit. So you get the gist though, and it was a really fun um production to read over and script and stuff for me because I got to take on the role of P.T. Barnum and Danny Zuko. So we would do extracts from each musical and extracts of scripts and songs. And I never got to perform it, and I spent a ton on the costume for P.T. Barnum because it's so hard to find a costume that looks like his because it was such specifically made for the film because it's a period piece, that film of sorts. And I'd managed to get the jacket and the waistcoat, which was actually one piece, and it was too baggy, so we had to sew it in, put on some braiding, hand sew on braiding and buttons, and I had to buy a top hat and a really expensive cane, which I've still got, and I absolutely love walking around with it. And I love the costume to bits, and I'm still going to wear it. But it was just a lot of work, and now because of coronavirus and COVID-19, it's down the drain. Yay! And every script, every musical, every production I've been in, including summer school productions and amateur dramatic society productions, I've always kept the scripts, always, because I love reading back through them and reliving memories in my head, which is a lovely thing for me, because I like to reminisce about good things that I've been able to aid and be a part of, and really partly I do a drama club with the West End Centre and Aldershot, and they are amazing, and every new term they always put on an end of term production, whether that's a all club piece, where, because there's 3 clubs, there's a younger club, there's a teenage club, and then there's an adult club, and each club will do their own end of normal term performance, but when it gets to Christmas, and we will do a everyone production where everyone's involved, and a summer production, I think, but I can't really remember. But either way, I managed to play Aladdin in one of those, in a fairy tale piece, and I loved it, because I got to open the show. That's always really fun. I got to open it singing a song by Void Contact called Let's Have a Picnic Today, and it's actually one of my favourite songs still to sing to myself. And I was topless in that, with only I wasn't completely naked. I was in school black trousers, no top, but I was wearing a purple waistcoat and a fez. So I was topless underneath the jacket, or the waistcoat, sorry, black trousers and a fez, and I had a genie lamp that actually broke halfway during performance, so I have to run up the audience aisle and pick up the lamp's lid, because it fell off, even though I glued it on. Which is always funny to see an actor kind of freak out in a moment and then just slowly lower himself down to the floor and pick it out from a row of curious and really confused audience members. But yeah, always got to stay hydrated. If you could hear that, always got to stay hydrated. But that's basically how I got into doing musicals and the school productions. And I just want to tell you a couple of things that I've noticed with them. When you're into year 7 and year 8, and you are in an ensemble, or if you're lucky enough to have a lead part at that point, like I was very lucky to be gifted those parts. You see a lot of younger kids moving your props on the prop table, or where they're supposed to be kept, and then they either break them or they leave them somewhere else and don't tell you. That grinds my gears so badly, but it's something that you'll partake in when you're younger. Like when you're in the younger years, or you're in the ensemble and you're feeling quite bored, you may go over to, everyone will at least once in their life gone over to the prop table, picked up a prop that's not theirs, moved it or broken it, right? It's something that happens. But when you get older and you're in those productions with those kind of kids, it gets really annoying. Um, I think one year in Les Mis, someone managed to break a wooden musket, and in Oliver, I nearly broke my own prop, but that's not the point. One of the canes broke because of a kid playing with it in that show, and in School of Rock, I actually nearly broke the set. I nearly broke the blackboard that was behind my drums, because my drums would wheel on and off the stage for when they were needed in the classroom set and on the stage set and the Battle of the Bands, and I nearly we have to cover up the drum kit and hide it from the principal when she walks on, and I was pulling a sheet over it and my cymbal fell off and actually snapped the bottom rim of the chalkboard off in one of the matinees. That's not one of my proudest moments, but it was absolutely hilarious for me trying to contain my laughter in it. I just turned around. But yeah, if you know that you're one of those people that touches someone else's props, let me offer you a little bit of advice. Get away from their props, because musicians and actors and musical theatre fans, they hold grudges. I'm joking, obviously, but yeah, please don't touch anyone else's props or move them or break them. And if you do move them or break them, let them know rather than having them to come ask you to find it and find out about what happened to it. Go to them and be honest. Because although we will be a little bit annoyed, we'll be less annoyed than if you don't tell us at all and have everyone worrying about where things are. Also, school productions and kids will mess around backstage when they're younger. And that's really annoying for me, especially with my anxiety and my stress, because I'll stress if they're making too much noise. Will they be heard by people's microphones? Will they be heard from the audience backstage? And I get really annoyed by that and quite stressed if they can actually hear it. I also get really worried about missing my cues, which I'm sure everyone gets worried about. But I get quite irrationally worried. I keep going, uh-oh, and I walk around backstage as quietly as I can, just pacing up and down. And that's partly my autism kicking in and stressing me out. But it's also my anxiety as well that kind of links in. So it's sort of both of them. And it's really, really stressful in that moment. But when I get on stage and I always get that cue, it's like a dream. It works. And, sorry about that. And, it ends up being a really fun show to be. Oh my gosh, a really fun show to be in, and to work with different people, and that's basically all about my experiences in productions. I don't think I've done that all before in chronological order and explaining why things have been cancelled and why things happen, but I also do think that I really also hope that you liked listening to me talking about people moving people's props and stressing about missing cues, and mic checks as well. I used to get so stressed at mic checks. I don't like singing when I don't have to, but now I really do. This was back in year 8 and I was first getting Oliver mic tests. I would sing the weirdest songs at the mic tests. So we would all go down the line with mics who have permanent mics, so that we could set the presets up on the soundboard, and there we go, Ben, and I would just be sat there. I'm just like, and everyone was just like, "Come on, Ben, sing." And I was like, and I would take a sip of water like I am now, and I would kind of close my eyes, and I once did "Happy Birthday to you, Happy Birthday to you." And did that for a bit, and I would do like testing 1 2 1 2, and I would say my lines into the mic. And when they said, "Oh no, but we want you to actually sing something real," I remember one time in a mic test somewhere. I don't know if this was during Oliver, but I went, "Don't cry for me, Argentina," from Evita, and everyone stared at me and smiled afterwards. But I was so nervous that I'd done something wrong until they smiled at me. So here's an idea, actually. Let's just sing the weirdest songs for mic tests, right? Scare people or make people laugh, Like, if you want to make people feel really awkward, just do a mic test with singing something from Avenue Q. Okay, Avenue Q is an adult musical. It's described as the adult version of the Sesame Street, right? It's all on the street, and there is a very there's the characters are Princeton and Trekkie Monster, Rod, Nikki, and Ricky. Christmas Eve. Um. Oh no, I think it's Gary. I'm not sure. Um. And there's also Lucy the slut, and the there's two bears in it that are like sort of conscious. You're conscious, subconscious. Sorry, they're the bad idea bears, and they're always giving you like the bad ideas, and they'll be like, "We're the bad idea bears, yay!" and stuff like that. Really, really high pitched and annoying. But yeah, just go into a mic test and troll them. I am not saying that you should, but I'm saying that it'd be a really fun idea. Like just going in and saying, "You can be as loud as the hell you want. We're making love." You know, like that song would be terrible for a mic check. You could do twist a song from Star Kids Twisted. You can just go in and go, "Take off your clothes." See, I'm just gonna keep going for a little bit. Like we're at 31 minutes now, and I'm just gonna think of some more songs on the spot that you probably shouldn't sing out loud in public or at a mic test. Bear with me here. I've got some soundtracks right next to me. Yeah, anything from Avenue Q. Don't go singing "I'm Not Wearing Underwear Today" because that'd ruin your chances at probably friendship if they don't know that musical. Beetlejuice could be a bit of an odd one to do the whole being dead thing at a mic test or out loud, because people might not like you for doing that. Book of Mormon is just a very controversial show to sing in public anyway. So, like Avenue Q, so do any of that, like doing "Turn It Off Like a Light Switch on a Roll," and any of the other lines from that, because I'm not going to say those ones. Falsettos. You could just sing the So like the first song is called "Four Jews in a Room Bitching." You could just go and sing that. Like, sorry about the B word drop there, but that's what the song's called, right? Don't sing that at a mic test or in public. There's actually one fun one that you might want to do at a mic test is from Firebringer from Star Kid. And a lot of people don't know this is a Star Kid song, but they know it from like TikTok. And it goes, "I don't want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today." That would actually be really fun. You could get people joining in that one. Sort of like a gospel-centered song. Perhaps not doing songs with swear words in from Hamilton. Avoid the swear words if you're going to actually sing them in front of people that it hasn't been agreed. Do not, and I repeat, this is the final thing I want to mention. There is a musical called Jerry Springer the Opera, and it's based on the TV show Jerry Springer in America. And he is sort of like Jeremy Kyle, and he brings people on, and usually the stories are either about someone wanting to propose to their partner, and it turns out their partner's been cheating on them, and the person they've been cheating on with they want to marry, and the person that they cheated on with actually doesn't want to marry them and's been cheating on the other guy, or catfishing and stuff like that. And it's actually quite a good show. But in 2003 they turned it into a musical opera in the West End, and they broadcast it on the BBC. Now, a lot of people thought that was very controversial, and I can see why, because there is some quite explicit content in that musical, which I won't mention on here, but do go and look it up if you are brave enough to tackle the subject matter. Because I don't want to mention it, but you can if you want to. It's not like it's going to absolutely terrify you, but it's just something that you wouldn't usually put on national TV. And I've been listening to the soundtrack of it, and I actually quite like the way that it's written and the opera in it. And the only character that doesn't speak is Jerry Springer, which is interesting. I like the way that they've done that. But do not, and I repeat, do not sing anything from that musical as a mic test, or anything of that musical in public if you're not performing the musical, or if there are strangers around, because they will form opinions on you that will not favour you. Okay, it's a very taboo, not taboo, very a very very more than Book of Mormon, very very controversial musical with words in it and stuff. But other than that, we've run out of time for Act 1. It's been quite fun. Now we're going to put the safety curtain back down and open up the house and put the house lights on for the intermission, which I actually still are yet to record. So I will see you after the intermission, and I'll see you after the break. Au revoir. Okay, welcome to the this very different style of intermission. I'm not actually going to be putting a cover up with this one or showing you a snippet, because I haven't actually gotten round to do one, sadly, but there will be next week. So I wanted to take this time to look at a book that I actually have. It's called The Book of the Year 2019. I mentioned it in a previous podcast, and it is written by the QI elves, also known as the people who find all of the facts that is featured in the BBC TV show QI, which is a factual show all about guessing at random and really odd facts that you may not know, or facts that are completely untrue. But in this book, it's they've done one for 2017, 2018 and 2019. This is the 2019 Book of the Year, and it goes through every single weird news story, with the weirdest news stories from the past year of 2019. As if we couldn't think that 2020 couldn't get any weirder, they released this book, and it is the funniest book I own actually currently. It's got so many funny facts, and I just wanted to share with you a couple of my favourite actually. My favourites. Inside the cover they give you like a snippet of the facts, and here's the snippets that you get. Hollyoaks, the soap opera, was actually partly written by the British government. There's a good fact for you to know. Tell people that like Hollyoaks. Also, 5 guys were arrested at Five Guys, which is actually extremely odd and probably rare and unexpected, and something that you wouldn't expect to happen, because that is so coincidental that 5 guys were arrested at a Five Guys restaurant. I mean, think of that what you want, or take that as you will, but that is the most hilarious thing that I've found ever in a fact book. There was about ice cream, and I don't know if it's in here, but oh no, can't find it anymore, so I won't mention it because I can't find it and I can't back anything that I was gonna actually say up. But there is so many facts on here, so I'll tell you, this is my favourite one. Last year the Queen was actually gifted 1,000 toilet rolls. The Queen was, but from a German company, to ensure that she wasn't caught short if the UK suffered any kind of supply problem due to Brexit. But they didn't actually make it to her because they were intercepted on their way to the throne and were donated to a secondary school in Croydon. Now, It's these kind of facts that are quite funny, but you don't expect to hear them because they're so weird and odd, and nobody really listens to them. But or not many people, if they looked at a fact book and thought, "Should I read this?" They might think no, because they've not actually read anything to do with it. But it's the most funniest thing ever. So not only did the Queen not get any bog roll, right? She, um, she was someone actually ordered, some Domino's cheeseburger pizzas under the name of Elizabeth, and they had them sent to Buckingham Palace. However, the driver was actually stopped by armed police, and get this, the security actually radioed through to the Buckingham Palace control room to ask if she had ordered Domino's pizzas. That is so funny to me. And it is such a great book, and I will leave the link in the description if you want to go and purchase it and check it out. If not, I'll also I'll just leave a link to the No Such Thing as a Fish Cruise podcast, because that's what they're called. The 4 QI elves that are prominent are called No Such Thing as a Fish. They wrote this book, and they've written every single previous book of the year, and they also have a podcast, so I'll link their website so that you can go check them out and see if you want to buy the book. But other than that, I'm really sorry that it's not a cover of anything, this intermission, but I genuinely have had no time to record one due to stressing out about GCSE results and other things that have been happening at the same time. But other than that, let's head back to Act 2. Hello and welcome back to Theatre's Hidden Helper, Autism, Musicals and Me. This is Act 2, so we're currently opening the curtain, putting the lights back on, setting the stage, and we're back after the very weird intermission. Apologies if you can hear Hoover in the background. That is not my choice currently to turn it off. Thank you for sticking with us. I know that this week's intermission was a bit odd. It was me reading a fact that I found from a book that I absolutely love. And credits to the No Such Thing as a Fish people who wrote that book, because it's so funny. But currently, because of being cooped up for a while with lockdown and stuff, because I've got to keep my family safe, because one member of my family is highly at risk for if they caught coronavirus, it could not be very good for them. So always keep your masks on when you're outside. Like, I see loads of people taking them off and then putting them on when they get into shops. Just keep it on. It's so much easier. And when you take it off, you're actually going to be more likely to infect yourself with coronavirus and bugs that stick to the front of the masks when you take them off if you touch the front. So be careful. Keep your distance, 2 meters if you can, and then if not, 1 meter at the most minimum. And just try and keep others safe, like members of my family and other people and their members of family, because we're all in this together, alright? We don't want to be doing it, but we have to. So if you're one of those people that aren't wearing a mask, put one on. If you're one of those people that don't care about social distancing and corona, you should, okay? Because you're going to be helping out a lot of people by doing your little bit. Okay, but as I said, it was a bit of a weird intermission, but because of the coronavirus lockdown and me being a little bit unmotivated because it's exam results day for GCSEs on Thursday, I haven't really had that much motivation to record anything quite joyous. But next week, after that Thursday, I will be back recording things for the intermission and to put randomly at different times on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned, click subscribe on my channel and put the notification bell so that you get notified for any time I release the Theatre's Hidden Helper podcast and any other videos on my channel. Without further ado though, I wanted to, I've talked about my experience in amateur dramatics theatre and school productions, which a lot of people will have fond memories from, and why you should never ever touch people's props. I had to bring that up because I said that. I've realised that I said that in another video, but I had to make that very clear because of past experiences. But some of you avid theatre kids out there will have noticed that a lot of people have been using a filter on Instagram stories from a person called #booked for a Never Have I Ever Actor Edition thing. I'm actually sat with my phone open. I'm not going to put the videos of me um, getting these on Instagram. I'm just going to read them out here. And I might as well talk through some of them. So I'm just going to click. Let's do this. Which one am I going to get? Have I ever learned an accent for a role? The only time I ever needed an accent for a role so far has been was actually in my first ever show in the Robin and the Sherwood Hoodies when I was in year 6, and I had to do the American accent, as I said, because I was like an announcer off stage for like a crack commando unit, like one of those real G.I. Joe kind of voiceover things. And I didn't actually learn it. I just did what I thought an American accent sounds, and I'm actually, for some reason, really good at picking up how accent sounds and doing impressions of famous people and stuff for some reason. I find it really easy to do. So I just kind of stood there and delivered this speech in my accent, and I've managed to retain the American accent ever since. It was slightly southern, actually, though, when I did it in year 6. So when I was doing School of Rock, it's not a southern American accent, although some people did, which is fine. But I just kept trying it out and doing it in the mirror, and asking people how I sounded, looking at which people accent different letters. But other than that, it came really quickly for me to do the American accent in those kind of things. So yeah, that's one question done. Let's keep going. Ooh, it's shuffling. Had a hair and makeup mishap? No, I haven't. However, I do remember something not as a mishap, but it happened on stage at when I was in Oliver. We were doing the final day of run-throughs, and we played through the show, and we were having pictures done, and one of the teachers, Miss Peg, she was amazing. She ran out of the hall and came back with face paints. And because when we were in Fagin's gang and at Fagin's hideout, all of the boys are quite dirty and look like they've been rolled through the mud a bit, and they don't look as clean as they could be. So she just walked on stage and said, "Freeze!" And we all froze, and she just started doing everyone's makeup on stage, which isn't a mishap, but it's just so weird and so funny at how it managed to change just for the pictures, and then we got it all right. It's so fun, but also I don't like when we come off stage, because when you're under when you're under lights in the theatre, it's quite dark and the lights are blaring at you. You look quite pale, so we had to put on some sort of orange face paint to make our faces stand out, so that our facial expressions were more accentuated and people could see them at the back, and we didn't look so pale. And it was actually quite funny when I came out, because I looked like I'd had the worst fake tan done ever when I got off that stage. I looked like Ross from Friends, in a sense, when he got his fake tan. But yeah, I've never had a mishap, but that is my favourite memories from hair and makeup in productions that I've been in. Let's keep going. Right, let's roll again. Come on, big money. Oh, done stand-up. Well, this is going to take some time to explain. I have been auditioning for the National Youth Music Theatre and working with them for about 2 years now, and they put on lots of they put on 4 productions a year, either at the Other Palace in London, or they do it as a tour sort of thing, and they always do a summer school. Summer skills school, which I did for the first time last year, and it was absolutely amazing and brilliant. And we had a cabaret night, and we could all do one act, or do like a act of singing or doing a dance or something like that, or anything that you see fit, like doing monologues and stuff. And I said, wouldn't it be funny if I did a stand-up comedy routine? I've never done a stand-up comedy routine before that, just let you know. Parts of it are actually on my Instagram story, on my Instagram profile, should I say. If you go into my bio and on my highlights, just scroll right over to the right, and it should say, have a microphone and say performances with like a clapperboard as the picture. Just click on that, and there are some clips from my comedy routine. It was probably funnier in person, but I made jokes about toilet stalls and jokes about choreography and musical theatre. And I also made a heavy joke about my love of Marmite, right? I made a very... I made fun of myself for liking Marmite, and I actually said at the end of my near the end of my stand-up comedy routine, I had a jar of Marmite with me that I'd managed to go out and buy. One of the leaders went out. I asked them if they could buy me a small tub of Marmite, and they said yeah, sure, and they went off site and got it. And when I was performing, I said, now if you like Marmite, can you please stand up, and put your hand on your heart, and I'm going to sing the Marmite song. And I'd written this Marmite song, and I need to find it, and if I do, I will, it's on my old phone, and if I can find the lyrics to the Marmite song and my stand-up, I will read it out next episode, if you're lucky and I can find it. But I was basically singing about how Marmite eaters, we're always friends and we stick together, and making loads of jokes about Marmite, while playing the piano at the same time as singing it. And I did a very big drone and build up at the end on 2 notes, right down at the lower bit of the keyboard. And I opened the Marmite jar with one hand, and someone held it for me, one of my friends, David Story. He's amazing, and he's just released his first EP, so I'll link his Spotify in the description below. And he held it, and I got a big spoon, still doing the drone with my other hand, by the way, and the other hand I was scooping out a bit of Marmite, and I had a massive spoonful of Marmite, and I said, Marmite is the best, bum, and I did the big ending downbeat note, and I was actually met with a lot of applause from that. Bear in mind, half of the room liked Marmite and stood up, half of the room didn't. Everyone was clapping, and I saw someone looking like they're about to wet themselves, if I can be that honest. And yes, that was David and Tom, actually. But yeah, I have actually done a stand-up comedy routine. So yeah, that's about that. I've done, I like to make people happy and make people laugh and stuff. And especially with my autism, I sort of take it in my stride a little bit, because I think of things that some people don't, and I can sort of make fun of my autism because I love having it, and I notice things that are quite funny about when it impacts me in my life, and I find it quite funny, and I talk to people about it, and they find it quite funny too, because I'm like, it's okay, it's funny to me, and I have it, and I love it to pieces, but it is just funny for me to talk about it and share my experiences with people. So yeah, I have done a stand-up comedy routine. Okay, let's move on. Been a background actor. I've been in the ensemble. Hang on a minute. I've done background acting in some shows, but I've never been in an ensemble other than in Les Mis. Which I actually really love being in the ensemble, because it's sort of like an extra family to be in, because you're all a lot of ensemble. All of the ensemble are amazing when you're in a show, and you all get to work together, and you usually hang out a lot, and I just love the vibes, the positive vibes, and the aura, the sense of family in that ensemble. And I have some of my funnest moments when I'm in an ensemble or doing background acting. I love it so much. So yes, I have been in background acting on a stage. Screen tested for a role. I have not, but that is sort of in the works currently. I did audition for um Fantastic Beasts 2. I did they did like an emailing thing, and I wrote about myself and my experiences and my skills and stuff, previous things that I did in, but I didn't get further than that, like a lot of people, because they had loads of people send them in, and they got too many that they couldn't actually read all of them, so they selected the best that they could, which is really fun, because I'm really grateful that I got that opportunity to email in. Um, oh, that's the same one again. Right, keep going, keep going, keep going. Injured myself on the job. Yes, I have. Once. I was in Les Mis. We were in rehearsals at the time, and we'd made a makeshift bridge at the back of the stage out of little blocks and stairs balanced on top. And I was stood on the stairs balanced on top, and they slid out from underneath me when I was stood still, and I fell off and into a metal pole a spare pole from the lighting rig, and I didn't actually seriously hurt myself, but I did twist my ankle and had a massive bruise on my knee, which is always not the best first impressions when you get into theatre. However, all of the people that were older than me in year 11 and about to leave in the lead parts, they all actually they were backstage at the time, and they heard me, and they came up the stairs, and they were like, "You're right, mate, that sounded really painful." And I was like, "Yeah, I promise I'm fine. I'm going to get back up now. I'm going to fix it." And I just kind of soldiered on. But they were really nice. So yes, I have injured myself on stage. Been in a Shakespeare play. I've been in 2 adapted Shakespeare plays. I have been in oh crap. This is great. I've been in Othello, and I've also been in Macbeth. Now in Cassio, this is with the Shakespeare School Foundation, by the way. I was in year 10 when I was a fellow, and I played Cassio. Yep, that's the right name. It's either that or Cassius. This is really bad for me. I'm a little bit tired currently, so I think it was Cassio. And that was extremely fun. And in last year's Macbeth, I was King Duncan. Now, he is a very small part, in the sense that he is in 3 or 4 scenes, give or take, and on for a small nominal amount of time. And after that, I got to join the ensemble as a ghost, and that was really fun. However, while I was on stage as Macbeth, we had a retractable dagger that I would get stabbed by Macbeth when I walked back, and he would stab me up the back, and I would have to scream in pain and fall over onto my back. Done very abstractly and very nicely, actually, by my friend Lewis. However, on stage on the final performance, the dagger didn't retract, so I actually got stabbed sort of in the back. It didn't go through my skin, but it did leave a very painful bruise, and everyone was telling me, you need to make a really more powerful scream. That was an extremely powerful scream, as I got told, and I was like, yeah, because he actually sort of stabbed me, but it wasn't Lewis's fault, it was the dagger. Do you have any industry enemies or nemesises? No, I don't hold a grudge against people, unless you've insulted me constantly and bullied me in the past, and then I might be willing to accept you back if you actually genuinely have changed and you're actually a nice person now. I only really don't like people that much if they don't accept me for me. Simple as that. Next question. Been late to rehearsals? Never. I was late to one rehearsal only because I had a dentist appointment once. And other than that, I have never actually been late because that dentist appointment was agreed by the director that I could go to it. and come late. So I've never been intentionally late to a rehearsal, so that's good for me. Let's keep going. I'm going to finish off a couple more of these, and then I will drift off into another thing that I will talk to you about in a minute. Played a lead role. Yes, I've been Oliver in Oliver Twist, Freddie Hamilton in School of Rock. I was supposed to be in our Night of the Musicals, P.T. Barnum and Danny Zuko from Greatest Showman and Grease, but it's not really a lead role, but it sort of is, because we were doing 6 shows, like a mass-up, and I was very privileged to get that role, but we never actually got to perform it, as I said in part 1. And I played Aladdin in a devised musical sort of play thing that we did last year called, oh crap, I can't remember it. Snow White and the Ugly Sinisters, I believe it was. It was a very well devised and written play by my amateur dramatics teacher, Becky. It was amazing. And the year before that, I was the Artful Dodger in the second production of Oliver that I was in, where we didn't use the music, but we used pop songs and current songs. So I had to sing "I Want to Break Free" by Queen as the Artful Dodger, but change it to "I Want It for Free" because the Artful Dodger steals. Sorry. Yeah, I was Dodger in that, and then the most recent one, as I said, was Aladdin. And by the way, in I Want It for Free, or the I Want to Break Free parody that I sang in the second production of Oliver Twist that Becky wrote, I was in drag like the music video for I Want to Break Free by Queen. And it was actually genuinely funny, because I had a hoover, I had a dress, and I had a wig, and I had a mustache as well. And it was actually genuinely fun for me to play that role. So those are my lead roles that I've been, and let's keep going. We'll do 2 more, I think. Snuck into an audition. I've never snuck into an audition. Next one. Let's do 2 more where I actually have a good answer for them. Been on Broadway? No, obviously not. Been in a musical? Yes, many. I've already explained them in part 1 and part 2. Let's keep going. Final one. Been an understudy. I've never been an understudy before. I've never been an understudy, no. I'm just trying to see if I've got any other good questions on here. No, some of these are just repeating themselves now. Lied to get out of rehearsal. I've never lied to get out of a rehearsal. Never, ever, ever. Lied about my special skills. Never lie about your special skills. This is an interesting one. Been on TV. Now, I was when I was much younger, when I was on what is now known as Good Morning Britain. It was GMTV back in 2005 and 2006, or when I was born, 2003. It was called GMTV, which was Good Morning Television, and it featured Ben Shepherd, I think Dr. Hillary, if you know who they are, and a couple others. And that day I was on with an X Factor contestant. I wasn't on for the X Factor, but I was on with my mum talking about autism and the diagnoses. This was before it got taken away, and now I've got my autism diagnosis back because it was illegally taken away from me, but that's a story for another day. But I was on GMTV with, I'm just trying to find it. It was a girl on the X Factor whose dad made her dress, if you remember her. Her name was Emma Chawner, and her dad made her dress, and Simon said the dress was ugly. And that day I was on the TV, on GMTV. She was also on that day, so I got to meet her and see her in the green room. But other than that, we're going to move on to just briefly talk about some theatre news that has been recently released, and I want to get your opinion on it, guys, in the comments. So please do comment this below. Theatres have been given the green light to start reopening again, which is obviously good news for people wanting to perform. However, I don't think it's going to work, personally, because if you think about it, a show is very intimate. There'll be kissing scenes in certain musicals. There will be very intimate and close scenes, and a lot of people, and it would look very odd socially distancing on a stage, and people wearing masks on stage. So I don't think personally it's the best idea to start putting performances on as soon as we can, because there's coronavirus still going on, even though people still want to believe that there aren't, but there is. It's just about keeping people safe, for my opinion, to be honest. Social distancing in seats is fine. Maybe one-man shows are okay to go, but not with a massive cast on stage that can't effectively distance with the staging of their show. Like Hamilton, etc. Maybe concert versions where people can distance with smaller casts may be fine. But I don't know. Comment down below what you think about that. However, I want to explain to you why I don't have a guest on this week. So the first episode I didn't have a guest, and the second episode I had a guest, which was my mother. She was an amazing first guest for me to have. And this week I don't, because we're going to be doing it on an on-off basis. So what's going to happen is I've already got a load of people who want to be in the podcast, which is amazing. Thank you for wanting to take part, guys. If you have wanted to take part and you've messaged me and I've got back to you, and I've got a lot of good episodes lined up for you, but it's going to be happening like so. So we'll have one episode where there will be a guest, one episode where there won't be, and so forth. So it'll be sort of fortnightly we will have a guest on, and perhaps we may even have a week where we have a guest on, and then a guest on, and then another guest on, because of interesting things to try out with the podcast. So we'll keep to the fortnightly basis of having a guest and then not having a guest, and then having a guest and not having a guest. But sometimes there may be special episodes where we do have to break the little system there. But other than that, that's basically what I wanted to discuss in this episode. Hang on a second. I gotta stay hydrated, guys. Stay hydrated. For some reason, my drink is not working. Give me a second. You can hear that, right? Just gonna undo my drink, because I don't think. Just trying to see if there's a hole in it. There isn't. There isn't a hole in the straw. Sorry, this is a very awkward thing for me. Let me try it again. Well, we're going to be drinking very tiny sips, apparently. So, that being said, guys, if you would like to be in the podcast one week, please email me at with my email, which is, well, looks like I accidentally said the wrong email first time, so I've removed it here. Let's continue. Sorry, that is the wrong email. Do not email that email, because I will not finish the email off. And I won't. Maybe I'll use that one in the future. I don't know. But currently, please do email me. I'll pop it in the description. Which is bencaligarioofficial@gmail.com, all lowercase letters, and title it that you want. Put the title of the email that you want to be on the podcast, and then in the message of your email, just tell me why you want to be on the podcast and what kind of things you would want to discuss on the podcast. And then I will get back to you and we'll see what we can arrange. If you don't want to email me, that's absolutely fine. You can go onto my Instagram, Ben Caligari Official, and you can direct message me telling me that you want to be on the podcast, and also do the same thing. Tell me why you want to be on the podcast, and what you would like to discuss on the podcast. But there's a big but that I didn't mention. Just let me know when you are free to record an episode, because I don't want to end up turning around to you and saying we can do you this week, and then that you turning around and saying sorry, I'm on holiday. So let me know when you are actually free, or when you would like to record an episode of the podcast, and I will try and accommodate that as easily and as best as I can. Also, you, instead of just typing in my email address, you can go to my Instagram bio, and on the bio it will have, if you look under my Instagram bio, which is Ben Caligari official, you will see a button next to at the bottom that says email. You can press that button and it will automatically create an email to me, and then you just continue from where you are there with that you want to be on the podcast and why. But other than that, that is this episode sadly over. And next week we will have Act 1 as amazing as ever. And then the intermission will feature another musical song cover, whether on the drums or vocals. I do not know yet. We are going to go very spontaneous on that. And in Act 2, we will have an absolutely extraordinary guest, either one of the fans or one of the people who work on the West End. I'm not telling you that now because I'm going to leave it very open for you to have a guess at. But other than that, do click subscribe if you like this episode so that you get and then click the notification bell next to the subscribe button to make sure that you're notified of every single release of a Theatre's Hidden Helper podcast, Autism, Musicals and Me. You can also go into my YouTube channel now and you can see that there is a playlist on my channel which has every single episode in order of Theatre's Hidden Helper if you want to go and binge listen to catch up on certain episodes. But other than that, do subscribe, click the notification bell, do subscribe, click the notification bell as previously stated to get notifications on everything. And other than that, it looks like the curtain is drawing on our theatre podcast. I hope you had as wonderful time as I did listening to it as I did recording. But other than that, the curtain is closing, the lights are dimming, the house lights are coming back up, and the house doors are opening. And that is it for Theatre's Hidden Helper podcast episode 3. We will see you later. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to mention something at the end because this episode is sort of Jersey Boys themed. I actually got one of the talent shows that I went into at school. I did the song from Jersey Boys and Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons called Beggin', and I won that year after 2 previous years of trying. And my mum, without me knowing, sent a video of me doing it and the performance night to the Jersey Boys official tour, UK tour. And they said that's amazing, and we'd love to bring you backstage to see. And I got there at the New Victoria Theatre Woking, and I got to go backstage, meet a lot of the cast, see every single prop, see all of the costumes, see all of the sets and the set pieces. I got to meet the pit drummer, and his name's Samuel Furst, and he was absolutely amazing, as was all of the band. And I got to wear the iconic Jersey Boys red jacket, one of the jackets. I was absolutely ecstatic that day, and they gave me a piece of sheet music. Let me just take a look quick. It's the piece of sheet music prop that they use on stage for Sherry when Bob Gaudio has just written it. And they gave it to me, and they had all of the cast sign it, which is amazing for me. And that wearing that Jersey Boys red jacket, that signed set prop piece, and the meeting the cast and the director and the stage manager and everyone there, and seeing the sets and the lights, it was absolutely amazing. So thank you guys. But other than that, now we are actually ending, so the curtain is closing, and I will see you all next week. Bye bye. Arrivederci. I don't know if that is even bye, but either way, goodbye, and see you next week.